I'm Elton John. This is my Rocket Hour on Apple Music, and I'm talking to Damon Albarn this week. And Gorillaz have a brand new album out called Gorillaz Present Soul Machine. And Damon's kindly agreed to join me on this show. Welcome. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you very much. I think the album's called Strange Timez. I think it's very convoluted this time because it's a season, you know, of 11 episodes. And to be totally honest with you, I'm not quite sure what it's called.
Well, they say here, Gorillaz Present Soul Machine.
Okay, well, if they say that, then...
I'll do it again if you like.
No, I'm not worried about it. I'm just
right.
saying how bizarre everything is, really.
Okay, so that's... We have a debate as to whether... It doesn't matter. The album's come out
It doesn't matter,
this week.
It doesn't matter what it's called. It's just out.
This is your 7th Gorillaz album. And for me, it's one of the best. And you must be really happy with it. You've got so many great people on it, for Christ's sake. You've got Slow Tie. You've got Jonas Policewoman. The Unknown Mortal Orchestra, who are one of my favorite bands, and people like me and Robert Smith from The Cure.
Yes, Beck. Lee John from Imagination, which was, for me, quite a coup.
Yeah?
Yeah. You must have bumped into Lee John down the road at some point.
Oh, I have, yes. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Woo.
Exactly.
How long did this take to get together?
Well, it started off like last October. We've just want to make music when I feel like it, as opposed to sort of dedicating 2 or 3 months to making a record. And that's pretty much how I did it. And then it just got to May this year. I was going back in time, actually, just like Boris's new slogan, "Build Back Better," you know.
Yeah.
Get yourself a time machine and meticulously rebuild the past.
It'd be lovely.
Sorry, I'm a terrible digresser.
Rod Stewart's version of The First Cut Is the Deepest is your next choice. What a song this is. I mean,
I love this song. It was one of my first songs when I started like thinking that maybe that's what I wanted to do, was write songs. That was one of those songs. I remember one particular journey where I walked from my village into Colchester, which was like a 6-mile walk, and I had it on cassette, and I must have listened to it like 40 times on that journey,
right.
And just I used to get that with songs where I just literally had to just everything. In fact, that kind of sort of obsession was how I sort of deviated from classical music, because I got to grade 8, I got to that point, and then I just started, when I was practicing, I just like there'd be something in a Mozart sonata that it would be like 3 or 4 chords, and I'd just be obsessed, and I'd just keep playing that, and I never really finished the piece. It's like, and I think you have to have that kind of obsessive nature if you're gonna learn how to do things, really, anything, whatever it is.
Your next chosen track is by Fela Kuti, featuring Tony Allen, and it's one of his most famous tracks, called Zombie.
It was the first track I heard. I mean, I obviously wanted to mention Tony because he sadly passed this year, and he really was truly one of my best friends, and I learned so much. He's such a beautiful human being from him, and but this was the tune that kind of turned me on to Fela Kuti, and then to him, and then, you know, he changed my life, really. When I met him, he profoundly changed my life.
For those of you at home who don't know, not familiar with Tony Allen, and all good musicians should be, he's a big part of The Good, the Bad, and the Queen. He's the drummer in that band, which is another of your projects. Now we're getting to the track that I did with you and Black, and it's called The Pink Phantom. And you sent me the track, and I loved the track, and eventually, to cut a long story short, I did the track in London, and you were in Devon.
I had to do a bit of work on it, though. I think, you know, I mean, I gave you the beginnings, and then I put a bass on it, and I put some backing vocals, and I think that made it was more cohesive then.
Yeah. But I loved the song straight away. And it's this time, you write very simple, insidious songs, and, you know, which is such a gift, because I tend to go as a piano player all over the shop with chord sequences and stuff.
Well, no, but check this. So I started off at the beginning, but just at the beginning of Blur, I couldn't play the guitar, and I only played the piano, and then my songs were really, as you say, quite sort of all over the place, and I kind of had, I sort of had to stop playing the piano for a while because I just kept writing songs like Elton John. and I had to write something else.
I just have to tell people at home why I love you so much, and don't get embarrassed. It's because out of Blur came Gorillaz, came The Good, the Bad, and the Queen, came Monkey, which was an opera way, way back. And I, as an artist and a composer, I've always loved the fact, and I was so admired the fact, you did things that you loved and you explored different music and you went for it. And I don't think there's any other British composer that's ever done that quite like you. I know you work with Michael Nyman, and Michael's, done a lot like that too. But I have to hand it to you. You are, for me, the most interesting British musician that, because you're always going off and do something and throwing everything behind it. African Express is another one which I loved. But it's incredible that you've gone from one of the most successful bands of all time. And by the way, the last Blur album, as you know, I was such a huge fan of, and was a masterpiece as far as I'm concerned. And it's the joy of playing with wonderful musicians that you seem to love. And I really admire that.
It's very simple. Yeah, I love music. I get up every day excited about making music.